about her. She is playing at Colgate next year. She was ICA All-State first team, and she pitched 197 pitches the day I watched her. That is impressive.
A little bit less.
A little less? Well,
except for revision, but that's okay.
That's okay. We'll call it 197. That's good. Number 15, catcher Liliana. Let's go. Glen, playing at Western Michigan University next year, All-State second team, and you made an incredible hit. I think it was a double, right? That's the game I saw. All right, now we're moving on to number 3, center field, Marcy Curry. Made a diving catch in center field. Number 2, second base, Mary Baranowski. Playing at University of Wisconsin, Parkside next year. Number 11, shortstop, Michaela, Sitanovich. Did I say that right? Going to be playing at Indiana. Number 4, left field, Brianna R.J. Slavicek. ICA All-Star first team. And then number 20, right field, Taylor Lane. Also the ICA All-State second team. Did I miss anyone? Why isn't it showing? These are the ones. Can you guys all come up here? Here goes. The village board would like to take a photo with you guys, if that's okay.
Of course. Of course. It's probably this way. So 3 is over. Over 2. Yes. Okay, perfect. You guys should be using the phone. Yes. Seniors, if you guys can be in front, that would be fantastic. Seniors in front. Oh, seniors in front. It's 22. Seniors in front.
One more photo, Kate. Perfect. All right, congrats.
No, see.
Thank you. You're welcome, guys. Congrats. Bye. That's my best friend.
Thanks for doing this.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys. Thanks for making us proud. Summer. must be related to the agenda items on today's agenda, as this is a special board meeting. So first up is Heidi Casella.
Hi, I'm Heidi. Congratulations, Trustee Schaller. You know what, I was just going to announce the July 1st Will County meeting for 143rd Street. So it's not on the agenda. I just wanted to put that out there on July 1st. In Will County, 143rd Street is on the Public Works and Transportation Committee meeting agenda, which means anyone can go or submit a comment before June 21st. So it's on their agenda, and that's all I have to say.
Thank you. I think the village manager is going to touch on that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Joe. Thank you.
Okay, now moving on to reports and communications from the president and other officers. Village manager Joe Bailey.
Thank you, Mayor. First off, Homer Fest. Mega Passes are being sold through Wednesday, both here at Village Hall and at Ace Hardware on Housekeeping Night. I'd like to thank our staff and the Fest Committee. They've been working hard to get in preparation for the event. Hopefully keep our fingers crossed and the weather cooperates. And also we will be attending that meeting regarding 143rd, and we've had some further communications off record with the county in regards to 143rd, and we will keep everybody informed as things progress. And that concludes my report.
Well, thank you very much. Moving on to the village trustees. Trustee Lockport.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Let's just take this opportunity to, I have the pleasure and the opportunity of serving as chair of the Economic Development Committee. This committee is the backbone of the business in our village. Along with Director J.D. Patch and the committee members, we are working hard to support existing businesses and recruit new businesses. At this time, we are looking to invite residents to join us in this effort. If anyone is interested, please reach out to either myself or Director Patch. Our meetings are once a month on Mondays, and it's a really great opportunity to get involved and support our village and our businesses. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Mason.
I just wanted to touch on the property at 12649 West 159th Street, right across from Touch of Green. They had been doing some excavation, construction type work, parking of trailers. A citation has been issued and a stop work order has been posted. I think they will come back in front of us at some point for a special permit because they do want to move forward. But I'm glad to see that that has transpired. Next thing I want to talk about is Director Gruber put out a letter of our opposition to the village of Vermont regarding the solar farm proposal. And I believe Joe had attended a meeting just recently, Joe. And I'd like to hear a little bit about that if you get an opportunity. Last thing I will touch on is everybody knows Deputy Tommy is gone. But we do have a traffic officer, and that is Traffic Officer Duncan. He's not in the places you think he is because he's not the same guy as Tom. He has spent over 20.5 hours in locations where we've getting the most complaints from, and where there's been a higher percentage of traffic violations. He visualized 7,115 vehicles. Out of those vehicles, the following tickets were issued: 70 tickets. One morning, and I believe the vast majority were for speeding, so that number's way down compared to what we're used to, which is a good thing. We always appreciate everything that the Will County Sheriffs do, but again, keep your eyes peeled, slow your speed, new officer, new locations. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Reinders.
Thank you, Mayor. I would just like to let everybody know that the old park is installed. They're still working on it. I would like to give a shout out to Director Victoria and her team for all their hard work in the grading and seeding in preparation for the board play to be installed. And I'd also like to, much to my dismay, thank Illinois American Water for running the underground water so we can have a water fountain in the park. We found out at the last minute that we did not have a water line, so our plumber that was working out there actually contacted Illinois American Water and pulled some strings, and Illinois American Water came out and put the line in for us. So, so that's great. So we will definitely have a water fountain. We will be announcing the grand opening of the park once decor play is in, and all final seating and grading is done. In our Parks meeting, we had Director Patch gave us another presentation on development impact fees and how these fees are based on a number of factors. These factors determine whether developers dedicate land for parks and recreation purposes or make cash contribution in lieu of a combination or both. We've been doing a lot of reviewing of Chapter 138, the Land Use and Site Development Code, and Ordinance 1-085, so that we can update the ordinance necessary to best fit the needs of our village.
Thank you. Trustee Muller?
I don't have anything to report. I would just like to take a moment to officially welcome Trustee Schaller. I look forward to working with him. It's an impressive resume, so I think we'll fit right in.
Thank you. Trustee Schaller?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take this moment to thank the mayor for my appointment and all the trustees that I've met during the interview process. Village manager showed me the inner workings of the village and all the great work everybody does behind the scenes. I look forward to working with everybody, and thank you.
Thank you. Village clerk? No report. Village Sherman?
Sorry, yes. The last time we spoke, back, I think, towards the latter part of May, we had reported on the status of House Bill 250. As we all recall, House Bill 250 was the repackaged version of House Bill 1397, which was the quick take bill, Will County for 143rd Street. We're pleased to report, as we reported back in late May, that bill was held up in the Senate committee, and I'd like to commend the mayor for all of her efforts and this board's efforts in making that happen. The mayor was personally, and I know this because I was in contact with her via phone, was personally in discussions with a multitude of legislatures in Springfield on that Saturday, and in my view, she was integral in having this bill held up so that all parties could try to reach a better resolution for the residents of Homer Glen. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Well, thank you.
I wanted to commend you for that.
Thank you.
Secondly, 143rd Street, I myself have been in consultation with one of the Illinois House senators, and I have a good understanding as to what some of the other senators would like to see. So to that end, the mayor and Mr. Baber collectively had authorized through Brett Westcott the creation of a new traffic study. We have given the direction to H&R Green to begin forthwith, immediately, a new traffic study which we believe will show the truth tale as the amount of traffic which is traversing between Bell Road and Lamont Road, which we believe will shed a lot of light to the powers that be on why such a 5-lane expansion is unnecessary and would not serve a valid public use. So that's all I have to report with regard to 143rd Street at the moment. Secondly, Lockport. As we all know, we've been in a dispute with the village of Lockport, with the city of Lockport, in regard to our wastewater treatment. I'm pleased to report, it's my understanding, that the village of Lockport will be executing a permit to allow the village of Homer Glen to extend their Cedar Road extension. That had previously been held up prior to the mayor and most of the trustees of the year being placed in office. That was a plan and a project that was subject to a grant, and that was held up long before they've been involved. I just, off the phone today, it's my understanding that we should be getting that permit here shortly, which is a step in a positive direction in future collaboration with the city of Lockport as a valuable partner, working hand in hand with the village on moving forward to solve wastewater treatment and a whole slew of other issues that both jurisdictions are currently facing, including potentially 143rd Street. Lastly, in regards to Illinois American Water, for old business, we have before for the board over here to talk a little bit. It's been placed on the agenda. The outline, the broad strokes of the potential ordinance which would make it a violation of the Village of Homer Glen Code for any public utility-related company to locate its facilities within village property or utilize village property in any way without a written franchise, license, or other written agreement. So that's going to be for discussion at a later point, but that's something that we have been working on. And lastly, for old business as well, we'll be talking a little bit about the potential, the trustees may be talking a little bit about the potential for a e-bike and e-scooter ordinance within the Village of Homer Glen. Many jurisdictions that in the Chicago metropolitan area are passing such laws based upon the health, safety, and welfare powers and the concerns that all these juveniles are driving around electric scooters and these very, very fast-moving e-bikes with very little concern for their own safety and certainly others within multiple jurisdictions. So that will be something that we'll be discussing as well.
Thank you. Public safety officials back there? Nothing? Absolutely not a thing? We're just real soon. All right. Hopefully you say the same thing after this weekend. All right. My turn. All right. Getting a lot of emails, questions, Facebook posts, all that fun stuff about sidewalks and walking paths and trails. I know staff is kind of working on like a little project or a little study to show where all the trails connect and the sidewalks and when sidewalks are installed. I have a lot of residents asking how they can get sidewalks. That's a tough task, but I know that Brett Westcott and Frank Woods and Mr. Baber are all looking into that. With those paths comes, as our attorney had stated, dirt bikes and electric bikes and all that fun stuff. If you are a parent of a child with an electric scooter or a dirt bike or a four-wheeler, please do not ride on our paths. Please ride them wherever they're legal, not on our roads, not in farm fields, not in people's lawns, not on the hill where they seem to go. Just tell your kids to be careful. We see them riding around everywhere going really fast, and it's causing some issues and some worries for some residents. Meyer and Jewel, I had met with both managers from Meyer and Jewel and spoke with the manager from the Dollar Tree. We're having some middle-aged kids running around doing some crazy things, riding their scooters and stuff in the store, putting fishing wire out from one end of the aisle to the other where, people are tripping and falling. So just be careful when you're going through stores. I had the opportunity to meet some of these young kids in the store, and two of them were really nice, so I bought them Starbucks. The other two, not so nice. They were riding around on the handicap cart and whatnot. Told them I didn't know their parents and who their parents were, so I did contact some people and let them know that their kids were misbehaving. But we are trying to form an ordinance, and we're meeting with the sheriff's office to talk about that, a nuisance ordinance. So if your kids are hanging around at Jewel or Meyer, you might want to have a conversation with them soon. Homer Fest, as we talked about, heard it's supposed to rain, but that's not true anymore. We're like this. Okay. If it does rain on Thursday for fireworks, when will fireworks be? Friday. Okay, which brings me to my next point. Friday is Special Needs Day. We're looking for some volunteers to help for Special Needs Day. It's from 1 to 3. We have about 100 families signed up already. The cutoff is Wednesday, I believe, for the special needs families. So let us know if you can make it. Mosquito spray is another thing that I keep getting questions about. Is our mosquito spray really as bad as they say it is, or it's just fine? It's natural spray.
There's a lot of information on our website.
A lot of information on the website. So when people ask about mosquito spray, go right to the website. Okay. It's very hot outside. Make sure you check on your seniors. Make sure you check on your neighbors. If you have a swimming pool, invite people over. It's really hot out there, so just be careful out there in the heat. And we have part of our Homer Township Board here today. I just want to say you guys are doing a fantastic job. And every time we need you for something, you guys are right there to answer the call. And very helpful and supportive, so I appreciate, cannot express enough how appreciative I am. So thank you. All right, so moving on to the consent agenda. Here we go. Consider for the approval of the accounts payable for period of May 31st, 2025 through June 26th of 2025 in the amount of $424,919.83. 2. Consider for approval the treasurer's report cash and investments for period ending March 31st, 2025 in the amount of $48,895,097.61. 3. Consider for approval of payment of the Village of Homer Glen's April legal bills for Peterson, Johnson, and Murray in the amount of $15,293. 4. Consider for approval of purchase of a new mini excavator for the Public Works Department in the amount of $94,438. 5. Consider for approval of the purchase of new of a new Ford F-250 for the Public Works Department in the amount of $58,633. 6, consider for approval the purchase of a new plotter scanner for Public Works in the amount of $13,645. 7, consider for approval an agreement between the Village of Homer Glen and the Illinois Landscape Contractors Association for the use of Heritage Park for the 2025 Fire and Ice event to be held on August 7th, 2025. And 8, consider for approval a quote from Wolf Seal Coating Inc. for seal coating the path in Heritage Park in the amount of $9,400. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders, is there a
I'll second.
Trustee Mason, Madam Clerk, call the roll. Please call the roll.
Trustee Reinders?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Motion carries. M1. All right, so this looks like it's two different motions. Looking at that for a moment. Look at this. Okay. So now we're moving to M1. Is there a motion to approve the ordinance granting 1, a variance to reduce the required side yard setback for detached accessory structure greater than 750 square feet from 20 feet to 10 feet, and a variance to permit 5 garage bays facing a public right-of-way where only 3 are permitted for certain real property located in the R2 single-family residential district at 15357 West Thornwood Lane, Homer Glen, Illinois, with the following condition. 1, add 3 windows to the east side of the structure. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Trustee Muller, is there a second?
Can I ask a question? Are we gonna do this through Parsman?
Yeah, so we'll discuss.
I'll second.
Okay. Trustee Mason, Trustee Muller. Go first.
Very familiar with the property in question. It's right around the corner from my house. I looked at it a handful of times, I spoke to the homeowner, and their hands are really tied to where they can put the structure. It's a wide lot, but the original builders put the wellhead almost dead center of where a driveway would go to access the rear portion of the yard where a structure like this would normally go, which cuts off access to it. It's not feasible to relocate a well on the property. So I have no problem with reducing the side yard setback and locating the structure where they want.
Trustee Mason.
I spoke to several of the trustees, and including Mr. Mueller here, and bottom line, the side setback I'm in favor of. This is 20 by 45, so it's actually a pretty big, I guess, garage type stuff. It's 5-car garage, right? So basically, that's what it is. It is on the corner, right off the corner of Thornwood and Hawthorne. I think he should be able to do what he needs to do on his property. It looks like he's going to have to extend the driveway around the side of the house as well, due to the fact that his plumbing is in the middle of the backyard. I get it. It does look like he's going to reduce the footprint because he's taking down a shed out back. I guess I can leave it at that for right now. So I'm in favor of it for those reasons.
Trustee Reinders.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with the setback or the structure itself.
Trustee Lepore.
I'm in agreement, no problem with the actual structure.
Trustee Schaller.
Yeah, I have no issues with the setback.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders? Aye. Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Motion carries. Moving on to B, consider for approval an ordinance granting a variance from the exterior construction standards 75-65B 2 of the Village of Homer Glen to permit gray steel siding on a residential accessory structure for certain real property located in the R2 Single Family Residential District at 15357 Northwest Thornwood Lane, Homer Glen, Illinois, with the following condition. The primary home's exterior colors shall be altered to match the accessory structure's gray tones prior to the structure's final inspection. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders, Trustee Mason, Trustee Reinders.
Well, Mayor, I didn't have a problem with the setback or the variance for the structure itself, but I do have a problem with the materials that they are looking to use on the structure. I don't know of any time that we've ever approved steel siding. My personal opinion would be to match the material that's on the building, the actual home itself, and carry that over to the fire protection.
Trustee Mason?
I actually almost aligned with Trustee Reinders. We had one of our own village employees, not more than 6 months ago, come to us with a similar facility where you could actually visualize it from Cedar Road and the side street. Same, almost exactly set up here, a little bit smaller actually. And we made him stick within the ordinance of what the materials were, and you know, it cost him a bit more money. And I remember one of the trustees who's no longer with us telling him his house would be worth more and all this good stuff. My issue is that if we don't stick with it, we're opening the door. We can't do it to our own village employees who happen to work for Public Works, who was not very thrilled about it, but his facility now looks gorgeous, and it's not an eyesore to anybody.
Trustee before?
I agree with Trustee Reinders and Trustee Mason. Slippery slope, once you start allowing alternative materials to be allowed, it's going to open up the floodgates for others to be applying the same.
Trustee Miller?
And the homeowners, again, they're right around the corner.
This is never been uncomfortable for you, huh?
Sorry, Trustee.
I'm just kidding.
They're very meticulous and do take extremely good care of their property. I don't think they would want to do anything that the neighbors wouldn't like. I know it is a different type of material, but I think they would, if they are committed to it, I think they would do it properly and make it look as good as possible.
Okay. Trustee Shower, I call on you last because you're new, so I want you to hear everybody else.
Thank you. I agree with Trustee Mason. I believe staying with the village's exterior construction standards is important, especially with this size of the structure.
Yeah, make an amendment.
Yeah, I was just going to say, so the motion is, as I read, so it says the primary home exterior colors shall be altered. I assume the petitioner is here. You guys look familiar. You want to step up to the podium for me? So were you going to change the color of your house?
Yeah, so our house still has original siding and windows from when it was built in the 80s. So the
Okay.
whole house is going to get redone like a modern farmhouse kind of look and vibe with board and batten and things like that. So it's all going to look. So the garage right now, I was kind of, the need was to get the boat inside somewhere. We have a boat that's on the property, we'd like to get it inside of the garage. That's why it's so long, to be able to fit the boat trailer in. But so the question comes down to, okay, so this is going to be vertical aluminum, but it's also going to be color matched to whatever the house is going to be. So it's all going to be board and batten, some slat with the nice vertical aluminum match. So it's going to look more like modern farmhouse, which is what everybody's building these days. So it's not going to be something that's just an attachment or just a garage. It's part of the whole property redo that's going to happen over the next year or two. So the idea was that we get the boat in storage into this garage before winter, and then in the springtime I could finish the rest of the house, kind of get it all up to looking the same. So it's going to look like what everyone's building in this area. I mean, everyone's building stuff that kind of looks like that. So
The
it looks kind of,
barnum sort of looking thing?
yeah, it's going to look like gray and black with the black trim and the black everything to go with the black soffit fascia in the house with the
Yeah.
gray board and batten. So it's going to look like a modern house that everybody else is building around here.
What would have been helpful is to see the finished product, right? Like to see the
Yeah.
house match this.
Yeah,
That
I
would
did.
have
I didn't know that. It's the first time I've ever
Yeah.
gone for a variance before, so for me it was just kind of a learning experience.
Is it pretty easy?
It's
Was it an easy process? Catch it in?
Yeah.
Okay, good, that's good to
But
hear.
it's more of like, we discussed it, okay. So the idea was, since I'm making this new structure, then
Yeah.
let's make the house look like the structure. So it wasn't like, hey, I just want to put a garage up. It's like, hey, this whole property is going to change in the next 2 years. Let's start with that, because I'd like to get the boat inside and get that part done, and then work on the outside of the house. So that's why I kind of agreed that we'll start doing the house along with it at the same time, if we could get that approved. But it's all original, it's old plywood, you know, a half-rotted siding. So if you're asking me to make a garage that looks like a half-rotted house, I'm not gonna want to do that,
No,
right?
yeah, no. Trustee Reynolds, you made the motion, but Trustee Mason asked if he could step in first, so you give him to you.
I don't have an issue with that. I agree with you. If my house was rotting, I'd want to replace it too. I see that the overhang is, looks like it's going to be 3 feet from the house itself, so I take it that's going to be fire rated.
That was another reason for the metal, because the metal's already fire rated, not an issue. There's no combustibles in the materials. So that was
It's
another
the
call.
same with Harvey Ward too. It's fire retardant because it's made out of fibrous and cement. And I really like it. I mean, I don't care what color, and I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to beautify it, and we appreciate that. But if I'm going to make a village employee use the proper materials, then I would ask that the residents use the proper materials as well.
Wait, I have a question. You said that the metal, doesn't metal burn too? It's not too? It melts.
Yeah, it's not combustible. Like it won't increase the fire, right? That has to be fire retardant.
Because I remember when Mr. Kono came up here, we had the same discussion about it was like an FBI building, and they wouldn't let him do it. He had to put sprinkler systems in and a fire retardant wall and all this other stuff. So I remember that because of the material that you're using. So I'm just thinking of history.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that we can't change history. I'm just thinking out loud. Trustee Mason, so what is your recommendation that you're asking? Because
Well,
so far your motion is
I think at this point, I'm not opposed to you building the structure. I think, yes, you're trying to beautify your property, and I get that. It's your property. You should be able to park your vehicles, put your things away. I get all that. All that I ask for is that you stay within the building materials that are required at this time. And that, I think, also tax the fire retardant situation as well. So I really don't know if we even need to make an adjustment to the ordinance, or do we drop it?
Ordinance or motion you mean?
Or to the amendment.
So the motion is, so just so you understand, the motion to allow you to build a structure has been granted, so you have that. They're discussing right now what type of material can be used.
So my amendment would be with the exception that it is the standard materials are utilized.
And cardboard, board, metal, those are all approved materials.
I mean, there's lots of things.
Yeah.
Can I ask, what are you fixing your house to look like? It's gonna still have the brick.
Yeah, the brick's
Just
I'm gonna
changing
cut the
the
brick down
siding.
to like a lower to sill type brick all the way around instead of the weird kind of accents that are in there. The rest will be board and bat and siding. Probably Harvey Ward, like we're talking about, depends on cost, you know, but,
So that's what from what I'm hearing, is that's what they're asking you to do, is like, where it looks like a red color to me.
well, right now it's like a red cedar color, which is not gonna stay red cedar.
Yeah, that's just tongue and groove,
Plywood essentially.
plywood
is
is
what
what
that
that is. And it's rotten out, I get that, my old house was very similar. Harvey Board can look exactly like this, it'd be any color, and you could still match the two.
Yeah, it's just
So I don't
twice
see
the
any
cost.
issue with it as far as that goes, because you could make it look exact, unless you plan on bricking more of the house or something and changing all that, right?
Trustee Reinders, do you have anything you want to add?
Okay, I've built a couple structures in my day, but just what I'm trying to say is that if you're gonna put board and batten or hardy board on your house, why can't you use the same material?
It was really more of a cost thing. So originally this project started as we were just gonna do a driveway and maybe a boat cover, just like a roof, like a lean-to type of thing for it. And then we're like, well, maybe we can make this into a structure on the budget that we have, right? So the idea was, how can we do it within the budget that we have for the project?
And I think you're absolutely right. I mean, if you look around Homerland, you look more towards Parker, out in that area out there, you'll see most of the homes now are being made, they're being constructed with hardy board, and board and batten, you know, but steel siding, not fair.
Trustee Muller?
I'm very familiar with barndominium look, and the products have come a long way from the steel type sheds we're used to seeing on farms and whatnot. And again, I know the homeowners aren't going to do anything that's going to decrease their property value or the neighbors. They're going to do it right regardless of the material. So I understand both, definitely understand both sides of the argument. So.
Okay, Trustee Laporte?
It is pro right, land rights, you do what you want on your property, it's anything you're going to meet, but I wholeheartedly agree with Trustee Mason and Trustee Reinders when it comes to materials. I think making an exception here would be making an exception again and again and again for this type of construction. Thank you.
Trustee Shower.
Again, I believe it's a slippery slope. Trustee Mason is right. Unfortunately, I understand what you're trying to do here, but it would have to be within the guidelines that are already set.
Okay, so what is the motion? I haven't heard the motion yet.
So it would be, I mean, it's a go, provided the materials are proper, so.
He's got the go.
He's got to go,
Just
so.
the motion is, as of right now, consider approval on ordinance granting a variance from an exterior construction standard.
So take a vote.
So then we
That
go,
could change it.
but then don't wait to tell him what type of materials he has to use.
Yeah, what's within our
Well,
ordinance.
So there's no variance granted for just a supplemental type of
So
material.
there would be a motion, ma'am, and then the vote, then we take a roll call vote. If the roll call vote was affirmative, then then the variance would pass, and you can use the steel exterior. But if the motion fails, then it's just denied, it's not allowed to do it.
Then he has to use whatever was in that.
Whichever the case is.
Because you're voting on the current motion. All right, Madam Clerk, please call roll. Trustee Reinders? No. Trustee Mason?
No.
Trustee Shower?
No.
Trustee Lepore?
No.
Trustee Muller?
Yes.
Motion carries. Fails. I mean, wishful thinking, I guess. So, motion fails. So you're allowed to put a structure up. You understand what just took place, right? Okay. I was a little confusing myself.
And I apologize, I just want you to know that we made our own village employees stick to these standards, and he was not a very happy camper. It took him a little bit longer, it might have cost him a little bit more, but his facility looks gorgeous. It looks gorgeous.
And I think the same will be said for yours. If you use board and batten or hardboard, it's going to look exactly like your house, and it's going to be great.
Right.
And you're still going to get that farmhouse look.
Yeah, it's just gonna change the timing of which I can do it, so.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Nice vote, by the way. All right, moving on to number 2. Consider for approval an intergovernmental agreement between Homer Township Road District and the Village of Homer Glen, the reimbursement of resurfacing costs of the portion on Bruce Road and 167th Street within the village limits. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Lepore, is there a second?
Second.
Trustee Mason, Lepore, you're up.
And pretty easy, we're getting money back from our road construction project, it's very rare. We're actually not spending and getting it back, so I'm all for it.
Trustee Mason?
I think trustee just said everything I could possibly say, so I think we're in good shape.
Trustee Shower?
I agree. This is good, good business.
Trustee Muller?
Yeah, absolutely no problem with that at all.
Trustee Reiner?
No problem.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Shower?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders?
Hi.
Motion carries. Consider approval of an ordinance amending Homer Glen Village Code, Chapter 10, Section 10-6, membership relating to standing committees. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Trustee Reinders?
I'll second.
Trustee Mason? Trustee Reinders?
I'm in total agreement with this. We've run up against this a couple times where trustees were not able to chair committees. And then there were staff members that couldn't chair because they were committed to other committees. So I think opening it up to the residents of Cumberland is going to be a good thing.
Okay, who was next? Trustee Mason?
No, I align with those thoughts. We've been working on this for a little bit. We've had a couple of times where, somebody couldn't chair a committee. We get it, we understand it. We do have competent people within the village that we didn't, and we have real issues. So I'm all for this.
Trustee Lepore?
I'd like to take this moment to just reemphasize, if any residents interested in involved in these committees, this is the time. We're looking for good people to get involved, step up to the challenge. There's a lot of good things going on in the village, and you've got some ideas. Now's the time to bring to the table, join our committees, and bring your thought and your enthusiasms to our place as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Shower?
I agree. From working for a village for over 28 years, having residents on committees is a great thing. Lets residents know what goes on behind the scenes, and the work that it takes that the village manager and everyone else does regarding this committee, so I think it's a great idea.
Trustee Muller?
No, I wholeheartedly agree. I think everybody has their niche and the committees they would fit best on. There's a trustee that that doesn't have that isn't a good fit for a committee. Why restrict it to a trustee that had that committee when there's somebody much more qualified in the community?
Yeah, this motion, I'm sorry, were you finished? So this was more like a cleanup, because this was discussed with the previous board. As our committees develop, as we move on from committees, other committees kind of start to form as the village starts to change and mature. So yes, at once upon a time, the Homer Fest committee started with just strictly volunteers. It was just the village working with the township, and then it manifested into, then it matured into the village Homer Glen by themselves, and now the staff is taking over. And I have to say, I think the staff is doing an amazing, wonderful job. I haven't heard any craziness happening so far. I haven't heard any complaints. The carnival people love him. The staff is having a good time. Everything is working out well, knock on wood so far. So as things develop and mature, I'd like to start maybe adding new committees. I know when we interviewed Mr. Schaller, and when I spoke to Mr. Muller and Trustee Lepore, when I first started meeting with them to become trustees, they all have different interests. I know there's interest of Long Run Creek. I'd like to get a group or a committee for Long Run Creek, maybe attach that to the Environment Committee somehow. Illinois American Water, I know Trustee Lepore and I have been attending some Illinois American Water meetings and things like that. I would like to really move forward on that. And 143rd, our roads, working with Public Works, having a committee work with them, understand what they're doing, answering a lot of resident questions, getting the residents more involved so they're more knowledgeable of things. I want like an educational committee to help the residents understand. I got inundated with mosquito emails and phone calls and Facebook blasts about our spray. It'd be nice to have somebody from a committee to say, hey, I got this, I'm taking this over. So as the village matures or grows up, our committees are going to change. So I'm in full support of this. Did I get everybody? I think so. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. Trustee Reinders? Aye. Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
I'm going to go back for a second to item number 2. I'm going to ask for a motion to reconsider the approval of the intergovernmental agreement between Homer Township Road District and the Village of Homer Glen for reimbursement of the resurfacing cost of the portion of Bruce Road and R67.
I'll make that motion because I thought
Mason.
that should be done
Is
as
there a
well.
second?
I'll second.
Okay, Trustee Reiner. So there was one little thing we forgot to talk about.
Yeah, it should be subject to legal's approvals, but it should be.
No, there was one other thing.
Yes,
Pass it on.
Your Honor.
Turn on your microphone, I'm sorry.
Trustee Mason is correct in the sense that I would ask that this IGA would be subject to my review and approval. There's a provision in here that requires, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes, Your Honor. It requires the village to indemnify and defend Homer Township Road District. We have come up with an issue in regards to that and other matters that involve litigation. I'd like an opportunity to review that with the Road District's counsel and try to come up with more of a neutral provision rather than a one-sided provision.
Understood.
So
Yeah, I should have said that earlier. I'm sorry.
And I blanked on it too.
So at this stage, there's a motion to reconsider this on the floor. It's been seconded. So then what would happen is this board would vote on the motion of reconsideration. If it's approved, then it goes back to the original motion, and then someone would make if it's approved, someone would make a motion to amend to allow subject to the review and approval of the village attorney.
So, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll on the motion to reconsider? Trustee Mason?
Aye.
Trustee Reinders? Aye. Trustee Lepore?
Aye.
Trustee Muller?
Aye.
Trustee Schaller?
Aye.
Motion carries. Trustee Mason, you want to make?
Yeah, I would like to make a motion to amend M2 to state that subject to legal's approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Who seconded it?
Trustee Schaller, do you understand that, what we're talking about? I'll talk to you guys later, yeah. Okay, Trustee Mason,
Aye.
Trustee Schaller,
Aye.
Trustee Reinders, aye. Trustee Lepore,
Aye.
Trustee Muller.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. All right, now moving on to old business. Discussion regarding an electric bike ordinance. Are you up?
Yes, Yes, Madam Mayor. So, multiple jurisdictions, multiple villages and cities have adopted these e-bike and scooter ordinances. The trustees, staff have asked and have seen, I know the village manager, Baber, will probably talk about this too, has seen countless young juveniles driving electric scooters and e-bikes all throughout the jurisdiction. I don't personally live here, but where I live, I've personally observed the same thing, albeit in a different jurisdiction. The town where I live passed a set of restrictions placed upon operators of these bicycles and of these scooters, which certainly, I believe, is going to help promote the health, safety, and welfare of the community. A couple things. Illinois law requires that for these e-bikes, they have to be 750 watts. They can't be any higher than 750 watts. And there's 3 different categories and classifications. And that's in the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code. So that those 3 things are going to be allowed pretty much because it's permissible under the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code, because obviously we want to promote bicycle riding. A class 3 sort of a e-bicycle, so the first 2 classes, 1 and 2, the maximum speed on those bikes are 20 miles an hour. And all of us that bike know that 20 miles an hour really isn't that fast when you're pedaling a bicycle. Young 12-year-old, 13-year-old kids, with a 5-speed or a 10-speed bike can certainly get up to those speeds easily. So these electrical bikes in those class 1 and class 2 categories, by Illinois law, can be operated by anyone on areas that bicycles are permitted to be driven. So if bicycles are able to be driven on paths, then these e-bikes will be able to be driven on paths as well. But one thing though is different. Class 3 bicycles have a top speed of 28 miles an hour. Those bicycles you have to be 16 years of age or older to drive. Certainly, we know from myself and just observations and looking at kids driving, and they're certainly driving those super fast bikes that don't qualify for in class 1, class 2, or class 3. These are pretty much dirt bikes with a souped-up engine that young little 12-year-olds and 14-year-olds are driving at speeds 35, 40 miles an hour as we went around town. So what the village can do is the village can place restrictions on requiring these bikes to be registered, requiring these bicycles to have professional safety equipment placed on them. The bikes that I've observed, and again, these are the ones that the 20-mile-an-hour bikes that kids can lawfully operate under the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code. But the village still can regulate from the health, safety, and welfare perspective, require them to be tagged, licensed, and also require them to have proper reflecting devices and lights on these bicycles. I personally have observed young kids operating bikes where I live in pitch black. I mean, it's just terrible. And surprise, surprise, the manufacturers of these bicycles have designed these bikes in almost a black or a graphite composite, so it blends in with the darkness. You would think that they would want to have a bright or reflective color. No, it's just the complete opposite. These look like Batman bikes. And they're almost invisible at night, and you don't hear them. If they're operating at 20 miles an hour, they're electric. Anybody that's ever been near an electric vehicle, which zooms past you, you really can't hear it until it's right upon you. The same thing holds true to these bikes. So this is something for the trustees to consider. Certainly, our law firm can help drafting a potential ordinance, just whatever direction you give us to do. The second thing with scooters, so that's e-bikes. With scooters, the village of Homer Glen is a home rule municipality, and the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code allows home rule municipalities and others to regulate the space. If you want to ban electric scooters, you can. That's certainly something that we can consider, that the trustees can consider, the safety committee can consider, in the future to protect the residents here. Those scooters are those upright things you see kids kind of standing on with their hands, just flying past you. I've seen them. And those are things that if you're going to allow them in the jurisdiction, which you can, people have to be 18 to ride those, which is something that most people don't recognize. A young kid, 12 years old, zooming 15, 20 miles an hour on an electric scooter, that's against the law. That's against the Illinois Motor Vehicle Code. So that's certainly something that would be a violation. The village itself, though, based upon its home rule authority, can 100% ban the operation of those within the jurisdiction. And those would be those e-scooters. So that's all I have in regards to that. I do have some samples of some other cities' codes that they've adopted that certainly I can share with you all and also share with the safety committee if you'd like to do so.
Yes, please.
Will do.
Thank you. Okay, discussion regarding, does anybody else, anything to add to that? No? You both, you're retired officer here now, so you guys agree with everything? Okay, all right. Discussion regarding proposed franchise agreement ordinance with Illinois American Water. Who brought that up? Who put that on the agenda? Mr. Baker, you're up.
So currently, we don't have a franchise agreement with Illinois American Water whatsoever. There was never one established back in 2001 when Illinois American came here to the village. So this would give us the opportunity to create a franchise agreement and with Illinois American Water, which moving forward would be able to give us the opportunity to have them meet certain requirements contained in that agreement.
Okay.
Yeah. I think other utilities have franchise agreements, and I think this is something that's necessary within Homer Glen. I think it's well overdue. I think one of the very first things I said when I ran for office was I wanted to learn more about American Water, how to help our residents. When I kept asking what agreement did we have in place, to my dismay, we never had one. We never had anything in place, and we've been discussing this in private a couple different times. Myself and Trustee Reiners, myself and Manager Baker, Mr. Lepore, even legal. I think it's time to have a franchise agreement put in place, and I think it's well overdue.
Attorney Guy, yeah?
Yes, ma'am. Briefly, so this is a little bit broader than just touching on Illinois American Water. This, first and foremost, makes it unlawful, a violation of the village code, for any utility-related company to locate any of its facilities. The facilities we mean by any of its infrastructure, any of its equipment, any of its pipes, conduits, that kind of thing, within village right-of-way or utilize village property without an agreement. So it touches all utility-related companies. But what's pretty unique here is that we have a franchise agreement put in place with a multitude of utility companies. Mr. Baker, correct me if I'm wrong, but we have NI Gas, Commonwealth Edison, Comcast, and others already on the books from the village. So what this does is it makes it unlawful and a violation of the village code for any utility-related company that doesn't have an agreement to be occupying our rights of way and utilizing our property without a franchise agreement. Secondly, then, we also then at that point, and we give them 30 days. So one thing in consultation with staff, we don't want to just drop a bomb, collectively, it's a terrible word to say, and I apologize. We don't want to make a surprise and impose obligations on people, not give them a reasonable period of time to come to the table with a franchise agreement or a licensing agreement. So if the board considers this is something we put on the next agenda for a later point, at which time it would not come into effect until 30 days after its passage. So that would hopefully give enough time for the utility companies that don't have franchise or license agreements to come to the table and negotiate terms with us. So that was just something I wanted to do.
No, perfect. Everyone, just want to make sure all the trustees got one so you can see. Okay, perfect. Any more old business? Anybody have anything they wanted to add? No?
Due to Homer Fest and some holiday stuff, July 4th stuff coming up, we will not be having the safety committee meeting.
Okay. Anything else? No? Okay. New business? Hearing none, since there's no workshop, do we need to go into exec?
Quickly.
Okay, all right. Is there a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of regarding personnel and discussion regarding pending litigation?
I'll make the motion.
Mason? Mr. Muller, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Good night, my friend.
Thank you.